Hello, I'm Fernanda Lazaro, and I'm the customer service rep here at LAS. I'm joined with Eleanor Schneider, who is the program manager, and Janet Wong is here as well, and she will monitor the webinar. And I'll give you an overview, just a high-level overview of the program, but do feel free to ask questions, but we'll be addressing them at the end of the webinar. Now, I'll talk about hedging and what it means for both programs. I'll give you an overview of both the electricity and natural gas programs. I'll point out the benefits and value adds, then I'll open up the floor for questions. So what is hedging? Now, hedging means fixing the price so there are less risks and more predictability. So how do we use hedging for the commodity programs? For electricity, municipalities are able to hedge up to 75% of their annual consumption, but most municipalities choose to hedge 65%, and the remainder is charged at the spot market rate. The municipalities, they also have the option to enroll their utility bills on 100% spot market pricing, but please note that streetlights are always on spot market price. In the natural gas case, Edison Energy hedges part of the energy consumption and unregulated transportation costs. Currently, they're hedging at 80% and spotting at 20%. And unlike electricity, the program participant doesn't have the choice of how much to hedge. I mentioned spot market a few times, so what is it? Similar to the stock market, this is the electricity rate charged by the IESO, and that stands for Independent Electricity System Operator. And I'll get into more detail in the next slide. So what are the advantages of hedging? I'll just read the list here. And the utility rates for natural gas, they tend to change up to 4 times per year. It offers budget stability both for electricity and natural gas. There's reduction of exposure to potential, mainly upward movements in the commodity market, and increased budget certainty. So essentially it offers price stability, which allows for monthly budgeting. We don't like to use the word savings because there are some years where the hedge price is slightly higher than the time of use rates, but we do find that over the long term, municipalities do see savings. But the goal of the program is to offer price stability. I'll start off talking about the LAS electricity program. Now, it was established in 1997 and grew from less than 20 accounts to over 140 participating municipalities. LAS is a licensed electricity retailer in Ontario, which means we can move your accounts out of your regular billing, which is either regulated price plan or time of use, and enter them into the hedge or spot billing with LAS. The goal of the program is to offer price or budget stability, which is possible through aggregate purchasing and spot market exposure. Now, what are your current electricity rates with your utility provider? There are accounts that use over 250,000 kilowatt hours per year, and those are always billed on the spot market price, whether you're in the program or not. And they pretty much ride the market. Now, this is per account, so you're not able to merge your accounts into one, so they add up to 250 kilowatt hours in order to take advantage of the spot market billing. Most municipalities and residential users have a regulated price plan structure, which includes either the tiered program or the time of use. Now, the tiered program is what streetlights usually run on. And streetlights normally have no meters, so their consumption is based on a formula, which is number of streetlights times wattage of the bulbs times the time of day. The utility usually takes the first 750 kilowatt hours at one rate, and the rest is billed at another rate. Some municipalities only keep their streetlights on the program because they do see savings. Again, I don't like to use that word, but in the case of streetlights, it does seem to be consistent because they run at low peak hours and they use consistent wattage. So there's no fluctuation in the consumption. Now, the time of use, that uses the time of day to determine the usage rate. So there's the on-peak, which is the most expensive rate, mid-peak, which is the mid-rate, and off-peak, which is evening and overnight. But off-peak is, again, consistent throughout the year, but the on and mid-peak, they change in the summer months and in the winter months. Now, I have to touch on global adjustment, and because it is in all of our billings. Now, I'll have to explain further here. Now, global adjustment is a charge the provincial government adds to the electricity invoices. So there are many factors that go into the charge, for example, conservation efforts. But if you look at the table on the screen, you can see that these are how the global adjustment rates are divided. Now, that's how it's broken down. But everyone who pays an electricity bill pays for global adjustment. So when you sign up with a retailer like LAS, you will see the global adjustment rate as a separate line. If you don't see it in your current bill, it doesn't mean you're not paying. It's just hidden in your time of use rates. Now, here's an example of an invoice prior to enrolling in the LAS program. And you can see that there's no separate line for the global adjustment. Again, just hidden in the rate. And and then there's the energy charge. So it's just very, very basic energy charge and your delivery and regulatory charges. Now, this slide here, we don't have a recent bill, unfortunately, because when you do sign up with the program, the utility, you'll still receive utility bills sent to you, so that they're not sent to us. So I had to just use a bill that we had prior to the changes of the updated utility invoices. But here's an example of an enrollment. So you still will receive a bill from your own utility, but you'll see that these two lines are separated. Your energy charge and your global adjustment are now separate lined items. Delivery and regulatory charges are not hedged or spotted on the program, or with any retailer for that matter. And retailers only deal with the energy charge, so there would be no other charges on the utility bill. Okay, so that was electricity. I'll touch on the natural gas program. And it works similarly to the electricity program in that it hedges part of the utility bill, but unlike the electricity program, where LES is an authorized retailer, natural gas programming is all done with the help of our program partner, Edison Energy. When we have any technical inquiries about the program, we usually ask Edison Energy to get involved in the conversation. The natural gas price can change up to 4 times per year, so hedging allows for more predictability and stable budgeting. This here is, it just compares direct purchase with the system gas. Now, direct purchase, it takes effect once you've joined the program. Hedge pricing and spot market billing. So once you've joined the program, you have access to the hedge and spot market billing. And in turn, it gives you certainty and price budgeting, as we've discussed in the previous slides. System gas, on the other hand, that's the default billing. So what you have right now, if you haven't signed up with a retailer, you're on system gas. Now, these are the different price components to natural gas. First, there's the commodity, and this is the price of gas itself, and it's deregulated in all provinces. So this portion is hedged. Then there's the transportation. Transportation can be either regulated or unregulated, depending on your area. And in the case of unregulated transportation, that portion is hedged, but regulated transportation cannot be hedged. And then there's the distribution, which is not hedged because it's always regulated. These next 2 slides, I'm just showing you where the main pipeline infrastructure within Ontario lies. So some municipalities don't actually have access to receive natural gas, so therefore they cannot enroll in the program. And this is the Northern Ontario map, and this here is the Southern Ontario map. If you have any questions about whether you can receive natural gas, we would normally consult Edison Energy, and they can direct us further there. Now, this slide here shows what a utility invoice would look like after you've joined the LAS natural gas program, and you can see the regulated and deregulated regulated and deregulated portions of your bill. Again, so the deregulated portions are hedged and the regulated portions cannot be hedged. Now, each year, your municipality will receive a summary for all your accounts enrolled in the programs, both electricity and natural gas. And LAS creates your electricity cost summaries, while Edison Energy creates your natural gas consumption summary. Both reports will be emailed by LAS though. And with the electricity program, we've added a 5-year comparison so you can see how the program is benefiting the municipality in the long term. The natural gas summary usually comes in Excel form. Now, this here, what I'm showing you is just the electricity commodity cost review, and that comes annually. And then you can see a comparison for how much you've saved or not, but yeah, and that's usually in graph format. Now, the benefits and value adds, usually a turnkey solution because we take care of most of the administrative stuff. And then there's the bylaw prepared by LAS. So what we do is we have a template. It's already outlined for you. You just have to fill in the blanks. There's a data for energy planning tool. So July 1st, you would have to submit your energy consumption for the year to the government. And we would prepare that for you in the sense that we can put together what you've consumed over that term. Webinars like this one, free webinars where we can update you on what's going on with the program or anything in the industry, electricity and natural gas. We help with analytics, so if you have any questions about your bills or your consumption, we can definitely look at that. Quarterly newsletters. Natural gas usually sends us information and then we send that out to you quarterly. We have up-to-date legislation changes, which we would relay usually through an e-blast or through webinars. Monthly bill summaries for electricity and annual cost summary reports for electricity. As you saw in the previous slide, that was the annual report. And then we have monthly and yearly consumption reports for natural gas and the rebate program for natural gas. Now, how that works is, it's based on the difference between the forecast price at the beginning of the program year and the actual price at the end of the year. And there usually is a difference, and you would receive a check for that difference. Now, how do you enroll in the programs? What you would do is you would send us invoices that you would like to enroll, so those accounts that you would like to enroll in either program, and we just simply add them. So for LAS, we do that on your behalf, and if, for electricity, we do that on your behalf, and for natural gas, we send that information to Edison Energy, and they would take care of that, and then let you know once you've been enrolled. Now, what we would expect from you is a bylaw passed by your counselor, and again, we can provide the template for you, so it's just pretty much filling in the blanks. And then once that has been approved, you just sign an agreement with LAS. You provide us the contact details for that program, and that's it. So that was very quick. I'm sorry. I ran through that again. I was just giving you a high-level, overview of the programs themselves. And if you do want more details, feel free to type in your questions, or just send us direct emails, and we can definitely answer them for you.
We don't have questions, but we have a few questions that maybe would be helpful in terms of understanding more about the program and kind of where we can help. One of the questions is, how do you know how to choose the correct electricity hedge level? So we normally recommend that you go with 65% of a hedge level, and this is on the electricity program. We see that as an average, and it usually helps the municipalities in some way, budgetability wise. One of the things that Fernanda highlighted was the fact that the hedge in all cases is really supposed to help with budget stability and predictability. So we try not to emphasize that there's savings, even though if you look at it over a 5-year horizon, We did comparisons this year for our program participants, and over the long term, you actually save. You might, see some impacts one year, but the next year, you may see some savings. And that's kind of the pattern that we see. Overall, over a 5-year time limit, you will see a savings. I mean, it's just, we don't have control over the market. We don't have control over the commodity. We do our purchase in the fall. So it's at one point in time, that we're trying to purchase a hedge that will give us the best price for that year. And again, fluctuations happen over the course of the year, and then there's other factors such as the global adjustment that we don't have control over. And that has really impacted the program over the past few years. With the modifier, it seems to have, things seem to have smoothed out a bit in terms of, the pricing. Another question, why is there no rebate for electricity? We purchase again the requested hedge and we bill it out fully. So there's nothing, that you need to worry about. It's not based on a forecast, it's based on historic. So we prepare a load, we call it a load, where we analyze all the information over the past year, and that becomes basically our gauge on what we need to purchase. And we look at, the averages month to month, and then we go out to market and we do a competitive bid. So all of our programs are done competitively and fairly, as applicable to the Municipal Act. So, we do group buying, but we do it in a competitive way and make sure that we're following legislation and requirements. And in terms of joining the program, we offer a turnkey solution, and we try to do that in all LAS programs. It's very important to us because we know that municipalities might have capacity constraints and don't have time. So we try and make things as seamless as possible in terms of enrollments. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks,
Thank you,
Eleanor.
Fernanda.
Oh, thank you. Guess that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, so we have no questions. But, oh yes, definitely. We had one registrant ask if they can receive a copy of the presentation. Actually, this is being recorded, so I'll be posting this on our website, and I'll send everyone who registered a link to that video, as well as a PDF copy of this presentation. Another question. Any word on the global adjustment being eliminated? Eleanor?
No, not at this point. There were announcements that were made in terms of the province did announce that they were making changes to the modifier. We don't have the details in terms of what that actually means for our program yet. We're still waiting to hear. So we're not sure where they're going with this, but as soon as we have information, we will communicate it out to our participants.
So thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully I didn't speak too quickly and I was clear. But please, again, I will send an email out. If you have any questions, please just reach out to us either by email or by phone. And thank you again for joining.